Risk management in relationships. This is something I've been interested in for a long time. This is something that I've created a lot of content about. And the reason I'm so interested in risk management in relationships is because I think it's so important and not enough people talk about it. Not enough people take this into consideration before they enter a long-term relationship or marriage. However, if you're interested in risk management in your relationship, it's important to not miss the forest for the trees, so to speak. It's important to have the right perspective on risk management itself. It's important to not go overboard with it. And in today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about for anyone interested in risk management in dating and relationships. My name is Zachary Stockill, and since 2013, I've been working one-on-one with thousands of men and women from all over the world, helping them overcome retroactive jealousy in their relationships, helping them overcome obsessive jealousy in their relationships. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, or you'd like more information about my work, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. So what is risk management in relationships? To my mind, this phrase basically just refers to taking your time, being careful, being selective, being choosy, and being aware when you're dating someone before you enter into a long-term relationship, a long-term committed relationship, or marriage with them. Keeping your eyes open, taking things slow, letting things naturally progress, letting things naturally take their course, and giving the person you're dating time to show you who they really are. Because as I often say, if you give someone enough time to show you who they are through their actions, not their words, eventually they will. So I talk about risk management all the time because I think it's really important and not enough people talk about it. But I also talk about risk management in dating and relationships because after almost 10 years of being pretty much a full-time coach, I've seen the consequences. I've seen what happens when people don't take risk management seriously, when people overlook an entire parade of red flags when they're dating someone. When people act on sheer impulse and sheer horniness, quite frankly, a lot of the time, when they're entering into a long-term relationship or marriage, I've seen the consequences of what happens when you don't take risk management into consideration. When you overlook the red flags and when you jump into something too quickly and when you don't listen to what your friends and family are telling you about your partner, all these things. I've been on some really intense, really tough coaching calls with a lot of people who are going through the consequences of what happens when you don't take risk management seriously, such as a nightmare breakup, such as a nightmare divorce, such as months or sometimes even years of cheating and lying and deception. It can totally destroy and ruin your life if you invite the wrong person into your life on a long-term basis. So all that throat clearing out of the way, risk management is extremely important. However, if you're interested in risk management in relationships, don't go overboard, and remember that every relationship is a risk. Every single one. Because a lot of people, when they talk about this issue or when they imagine this issue or when they talk to other people about it, a lot of people, when they think about risk management, there's this subconscious assumption that they'll meet someone where there will be zero risk. They'll meet the pure virgin girl or something like that where, oh, I'll find this woman and there'll never be any risk. She'll be 100% loyal to me. There'll be no uncertainty. There's zero risk involved in this person. Or sometimes women will choose to marry the safe bet, the safe guy with a good job and, very passive, and he's never going to be a risk to cheat. He's never going to be a risk to stray. We're going to love each other forever. There's no risk. It doesn't exist. There is no relationship without some element of uncertainty, or if you'd prefer, risk. Every relationship is a risk. And it's crucial to keep that in mind because if you focus too much on risk, you're going to miss the rewards of any potential relationship as well. Which brings me to my next point. Relationships are risk and reward. There's a chance of risk, but there's also the chance of incredible rewards. Marriage, in some ways, is the highest risk, highest reward choice that you'll ever make, or risk, shall we say, that you'll ever take in your entire life. Because the benefits of a long-term relationship or marriage are voluminous. There are so many benefits to a good long-term relationship, a good long-term marriage. I'm sure you realize that if you're watching a video like this. But I wanted to mention that because you may not be thinking about that enough when you're approaching your next girlfriend or when you're approaching your next husband or when you're dating and on the market. You may be only looking for risks and concerned about the risks. You may not entirely be thinking about the rewards. On a similar note, a friend of mine named Jordan, I'll post the video below, he did a video recently which I thought was really good on remembering to focus on looking for green flags and not just red flags in your relationship. I've posted another video, or at least one, maybe two, about green flags in dating and relationships. I'll post that in the description as well, a link to watch that. But the point is, it is important to be cognizant and to be aware of potential red flags. In other words, potential issues, potential indications of future complications or future dysfunction, signs that a person you're dating may not be the best choice for a long-term committed relationship. Of course, I think it's extremely important to be cognizant and be aware of those things. However, think about your own green flags. Think about the things that, not the things you want to avoid, think about the things you want in a potential partner. Signs or characteristics or gestures or qualities or whatever, traits that you see in someone else that could be a potential green flag, that could be a potential indicator of positive future behavior, an indication that this person is actually a great choice for a long-term relationship. Focus on the green flags and not just the red flags. I'll also remind you one of my favorite quotes, look for patterns over perfection. So as we've already covered, perfection does not exist. Doesn't exist in relationships, doesn't exist in other people. Don't tell yourself, oh, she's perfect, he's perfect. He's not, she's not, you're not perfect either, neither am I. Perfection doesn't exist. But you can look for patterns. In other words, if your partner's having a bad day and she, has some reaction that you don't really like and she really takes it out on you and there's some kind of conflict there, obviously that's not a great sign, that's unpleasant, that's not a great thing to be dealing with. However, if she's been incredible for months and that she's having a bad day or a bad week sometimes, something like that, obviously the pattern is that she's generally a kind, loving, supportive, patient, all these things. The event where you had some kind of conflict is an exception. Focus on patterns over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. And if you go looking for perfection in someone's either present, in their present behavior, their present personality, or their past, you won't find it because human beings aren't perfect. Look for patterns over perfection. And finally, I would also say, I'd remind you of something that one of my mentors, Caleb Jones, calls the 10% rule. And the 10% rule stipulates that there's going to be 10% of anything that you really love that isn't going to be your favorite thing in the world. I won't say 10% that you hate, but maybe 10% that isn't your favorite thing to deal with. Whether it's your job, whether it's your partner, whether it's your kids, you may love all of these things tremendously, but there's going to be 10% of them that isn't your favorite thing to deal with. Remember this when you're engaged in risk management in your relationship, when you're thinking about these things, that you could have the most amazing date in the world and she could be absolutely incredible, or he could be absolutely incredible. Whatever. There's likely going to be 10% of their personality maybe, or 10% of your interactions with them, or maybe even 10% of their past that isn't your favorite thing in the world, that isn't the greatest sign, it isn't like one of their shining moments. But again, we all have those moments. I don't know about you, but there are plenty of nights in my 20s that I wish I could kind of take back. Maybe 10% of Zach's past that isn't the best thing in the world that my girlfriend doesn't love thinking about. But guess what? That only makes up around 10%, I would guess, of who I am, of what I've done. And the person you're dating is likely the exact same. There's going to be at least 10% of their past, of their present, that isn't your favorite thing to think about. Now, obviously, the more this number rises, if it gets 15, 20, 25, 50%, then we've got serious problems. But again, don't look for perfections, look for patterns. And finally, one more time, just to really emphasize this point, looking for red flags is important, but think about the green flags. Think about all the wonderful signs that they're showing you. Think about that feeling in your gut that they give you when they walk into the room. Think about all the green flags and trust your intuition when it comes to that stuff. If the red flags outnumber the green flags, obviously we've got problems. But as you're engaged in risk management in your dating life, in your relationship, think about the green flags as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to this today. If you got anything out of this video, please take a minute to let me know by clicking the like button below. I'll also ask you to please leave a comment with your thoughts. I would appreciate hearing from you. And finally, please be sure you are subscribed to my channel as well to be notified of new videos moving forward. Thanks again for watching, happy dating, and I'll talk to you again soon.